All right, Mike, tell us about what you're holding. Looks.
Yes, great question. So these are actually songs. These are actually songs. Each one of these is a different song.
It's a song. It
How do
looks
I?
like it
Yeah.
looks like Lego, but you're telling us it's a song.
Check out this. So this pattern here, I look at the first row. Brown, blue, blue. Brown, blue, blue, green. What on earth is that? So I punch it in. Brown, brown is 7, 7. Blue is 4, 4. Blue is 4, 4, 4. And again, 7, 4, 4. Brown, blue, blue. 7, 4, 4. Brown, oops. Brown, blue, blue. And green, 5, green. What song is this magical pattern? It is the first half of the Australian anthem. Australians all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful straits, going to the next part. In joy, oops. Oh, what I'm going to do now is take the number of the song. This is the year. I'm going to take the number of the song, re-enter it, same, and then go to the next part, isolating the pattern. And here's the second part. Then let us sing Advance Australia Fair. Beneath our radiant Southern Cross we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the seas, we've boundless plains to share. With courage let us all combine to come back. Advance Australia Fair. This Lego-y thing represents the code of, this is the digital form, this is the physical form, and then we open it up to hold the actual words, word for word in English, of the song. Yeah.
That's very interesting. And what does this do to somebody learning a different song? How can they see a similarity across the Australian national anthem and the one that's right next to it, for instance, on this big board?
Perfect. Here's another song. What song is this? Do we know what song this is? How do I look up the song? So I'm using my punch pad here, and I'm going to punch in the code. So red, 3 is red, 2 is gray, 6 is purple. So 3, 2, 6. 3, 2, 6 to punch it in, and then 3, 1, 2, 5. 3, 1, red, yellow, gray, green. 3, 1, 2, 5. So that calls up the song. Why did I put this one next to this one? Because I was thinking A to Z. So these are both countries. I was thinking the country Australia and also the country Australia. And then maybe after Belgium and Canada and Denmark and maybe Estonia and England and France. And I had this idea of, let's start with some countries. songs from those countries or the country name begins with A. So alphabetical by country, a song from that country. Oh, here's another one. Traveling in a fried out combi on a hippie trailhead full of zombie. I met a strange lady. She made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, and a little bit harder, this is the punch code, the first row. But behind the scenes, this is the actual song number, 90,121. So once you punch in the song code of the first row, very complicated. Now we can do a 90,000. Now we can lock on to the actual song number itself and then go to the next verse, 2. Or the next image. Here we go. Do you come from a land down under where women glow and men plunder? Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover. And that's the second verse of that song. It's an Australian song in 1980. And here's a cool 2x2 pattern. So we put squares there. And here's another line pattern, 3 in a row. And so we put the arrows for lines and squares for squares. Good questions. What else?
That's amazing. Okay, so songs in a visual representation. Just a lot of songs drawn out visually. That is fascinating.
Why?
Okay, so tell us why. Tell us the benefit of seeing different songs from different parts of the world represented this way.
Oh, I didn't know. I never listened to music from China, Japan, India, Russia, Greece. They don't even use the ABC letters. How am I supposed to, where do I even begin? It's impossible to even know the singers' names in Vietnamese. I can't even say or type the name of the singer. So where do I begin? So I'm like, why can't a weird Canadian Jewish guy in his basement in Toronto, Canada, why can't I enjoy all the world's music instantly? What, I have to be dependent on a Google search, a YouTube search? Hell no, I want like every song from every country immediately. I don't have all day, I want like this. So what we have to do here is we gotta pick what language are we, do we want to sing in Aramaic? Some ancient Jewish song? Bengali? The anthem of Bangladesh? Do you want Chinese? We have to be singing all the popular songs of China. And Czech? Why don't I don't speak Czech. Why can't I get into the songs? Danish, Dutch, English, Estonian, Farsi, Filipino. I want every language. The songs from every language. I don't know. I cannot read Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Russian, all these different alphabet systems. In India, all the different languages and systems. So what am I supposed to do? Well, so what I did was we have a perfectly calculated chart. And the chart shows a way using a fixed set of colors and 7 numbers. And we group sounds like k and g and j. One group. Yellow, 1. M and N, 2. T and D, 3. R and L, 4. Y, H, W, 5. P, B, F, V, 6. 7, S, Z. And I used color tied to number, tied to a group of letters, but really the phonetics, the sound making. And if you have a fixed chart, if you have this crazy fixed encoding chart where groups of sounds based on where they're pronounced in the throat, the lips, pu, bu, fu, vu, hissing like s and z, if we think about the way that words are pronounced and sounds are pronounced, every word in every language will have a first sound, and we can grab any song in any language from any culture and compartmentalize it and calculate the exact perfect QR code. And then once you have a color language where it's just 7 colors, course, construct it and hold it in your hand. And it doesn't have to be English. You can jump around song in any language: Albanian, Hebrew, Bosnian, Taiwanese, Chinese, Czech, Afrikaans, Estonian, Persian, Iran, Filipino, Tagalog, Finnish. You just keep going. French songs, French, and then it's addictive. You want to keep going. Oh, what song is this? I don't even know what this is. Punch it in. Blue, yellow, 4, 1. Blue, blue, yellow, 4, 4, 1. Red, purple, 3, 6. What is this? Alouette, Chantil, Alouette, Alouette, je te plumerai. Now I'm Canadian and I know some French, so that's not so impressive. But what if a random guy in Toronto can sing songs in, how about, I don't know, Vietnamese? Can you sing? Will I be able to sing a popular Vietnamese song? Why not? Way, so my goplan, damadun quay, an oi an ambabu, simalalam, and yuve, baby, and not to doubt, baby, can you stay? My decon now, semcon now to min don conve, now nu mot ko now kote ka evui. Se sud now luna kong ne de ankoi. Now la no de jong en ko ham coin de dem de navan na join dem navana toing dem navana and de toing. Se foot em gap ein la and beat em si tin tang tin tang tin tang. Say for dem gap ein la and beat dem si tin tang tin tang. Gets harder the rest, but let's do another. I don't know. Give me a Polish. Here's a chorus of a Polish song. Womom ogrodisku rośnie resniska. Na pomin menjusie mega kuniska. Nesje nene polibo sie kune bolebo sie kune boje bom je mioda. Nesje nene poibo sie kune boibo jeszka moja da. Let's jump around. I don't know. It's Hungarian. Okay, Hungarian's a little harder. German. I was singing let's get some German songs going over here.
And do you generally do a sing along with this? Would you play the track or play the music?
100%. Yeah, I sing before it's pure memory. Yes, before I memorize the song and the tone, I start on the YouTube channel. And great question. So I start on the YouTube channel and I think to myself, this is World Mini Music. It's live right away. Here's me. Here's Mike Merker. That's me. Here's my son Zacky's channel. But it's all here. You can pick any language and you can view all the languages: German, Russian, Portuguese, Hebrew, Finnish, French, Vietnamese, Filipino, English, Hungarian, Spanish, Japanese, Polish, Afrikaans, Dutch, Persian, Hindi, Maori, Korean, Estonian. Oh, every language. I'm gonna add every language. You could pick a decade. Let's view all the decades. 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 2000, 2010, 2020. You can view them. I want right now a song from the 80s. You can jump right in. You can jump right into Rick Astley.
Rick roll.
We're gonna Rickroll ourselves through a color mathematically. Get me
That's
dancing
amazing.
here.
So it highlights.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. I just mathematically Rick up in my basement after singing Vietnamese and Polish songs. I don't speak Vietnamese. There's no way that's possible.
You do now.
And if you're having trouble, we have a flower friend. Best place to start. Just the 7 colors.
Right.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make... Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
This is so you've almost memorized the song, and you also have the colors memorized.
Amazing. So I sit at my desk here while programming, while working on the system, and this is the best thing I found. I always think in my head to memorize everything in Vietnamese and sing it perfectly by memory. I always think about a yellow sun is first, and I think about the word king, like the letters K and G. K, the sounds K and G. Sun, and then paired with the sun, I have a moon. Thinking of all those words that begin with an M sound and an N sound, and I make them gray second. So I always think yellow, sun, 1, gray, moon, 2. And then I come over here, I think about red and fire as 3. And I think about all those words that begin with like T and D. I think about a torch. And for water, 4 is water. I think about, in my head, I'm always thinking about a river and a lake. All those words in every that begin with a R consonant and an L consonantal sound. Then I think about a tree. And when I look at the tree, I think about the shapes of the letters Y and H. And the number 5 in the 5th place and the color green, a green tree. And I'm thinking about that as a memory aid. And then I think about, after this, I think about flower and soil, like a large tree, a small flower and soil beneath it. Number 6, purple. I think about the letters P and B, and P and B. And I think about a purple flower with petals going around it. And then lastly, I think about brown soil, S and Z. I think about the soil, S. So with practice, I've learned to think about it. With practice, I've learned to always think about it. There's a song. KGMNTDRLYHBBSC. KGMNTDRLYHBBSC. And I think about it. And I think about a kid wearing like a robot costume wondering, why are lyrics colored? How would I color lyrics? I'm like a kid wearing some magical robot costume. And how would I group colors like yellow and gray and red and blue and green and purple and brown, and tie those colors always to numbers and to sounds, and then fix that forever. Fix that forever. And then I think about, to visualize and plot it on a chart, I think about a grid, like a grid of 7 by 7, always a 7 by 7 grid. And then I always have block out these two spaces. When I went through so much data and thinking about this and trying to understand all these different, completely different languages and alphabets, I found that if I always block out these on the fourth row, if I block out, put a black, like block that out. So I have 7 by 7 grid of 49 flowers, and I remove these 2 flowers, and I've printed. My wife's like, what's going on? And I printed tens of thousands of these flower charts. And that's what's going on behind the scenes. Thousands upon thousands of these flower charts, and obsessing over it crazily, and indexing songs and taking them apart like crazy. Go over and over again, and by hand, not just on the computer, and figuring this pattern, and over, and German and Hebrew, just over and over again, and Polish and English songs, and British songs from the 80s, and Beatles, and Ed Sheeran, and Miley Cyrus, and trying to every different shape and size, and the patterns that generate. And one day I just realized, whoa, you get some really cool patterns. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of a rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night, and he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, go to 10. Yeah, I love this, man. And encoding data shapes, just crushing the data, just trying to package data in like, just locking onto those colors and sounds and trying to, as many variations as possible, over until my hand breaks. Crazy devotion. The departments have been called, and rabbis are asking questions, and all sorts of hell is breaking loose. And why is the Jewish guy? What is this book? Why am I trying to? Why, what's going on here? How many languages are we talking about? Why is there? This is all over the place. Color harmony. Getting into like, I don't know anything about this. Yeah, why? What? How should the colors be graded and shaped in every variation? And reflecting on this and exploring this, and the etymology of ancient languages, and going through like every conceivable groups and clusters of the ancient Hebrew, and understanding very particular sound structures and groupings and all languages, going to town, grouping and clustering sounds of the throat in by Hebrew patterns, and not just of the throat, but of all sorts of like ways to group and cluster sounds, and here, this was how it all began. This is the ancient Hebrew grouping of all the Hebrew letters, dividing by homoorganic consonant categories, and originally there was 5 groups, like the P's and the B's and the V's, and an M, like a group, and a small group of where sounds are coming from the reverse engineering of the speech center. That's the only thing that every language has in common, is that there's got to be sound vibrations from the throat and hisses and the vibrations. And I'm like, whoa, what if we could capture this and measure this assign it very particular numbers, groupings, assign those numbers to colors, then it would look like it felt like reading music. It felt like looking at very basic Beatles songs, but instead of traditional music notation with pitches of particular octaves of 7 places on an octave, we're instead packaging it in 2-dimensional grids for 3-dimensional shapes. And then I came across wonderful elements of Euclid, the vast, like how the precise fundamentals, the beautiful mathematical fundamentals, like how should we partition the incredible stuff, ancient Greek mathematics. How should we partition shapes and sizes? How shall we form and measure and deconstruct? How shall we symbolically measure shapes and utilize the space? And then at the same time, why are we only in one language and not another? This is the ancient Jewish songs of the Passover. These steps of ancient Jewish tradition, it's magical, mind-bending, like computer science processes in here. If you spend 10 hours straight writing code and you look at this, you're like, okay, here we have the English translation. Here we have Hebrew words, but it's all black and white, and it's in some old book. No, I want like computer geometrically calculated forms. I don't just want free-flowing black and white text in some old dinky book. Yeah, and it goes on. And then we have Uri Levine. We fall in love with the problem. Yeah, we can build some crazy tech solution and build stuff all day, but are we falling in love with the problem? There's a language barrier. I cannot, I cannot talk to everyone always. We have thousands of different languages. Done with the language barrier. Goodbye. If a Jewish guy can sing a Vietnamese song, then a Vietnamese woman can sing a Jewish song. And every language thrown across the earth. And every Jewish guy has his Yiddish textbook with his breakdown of the Hebrew language. And but no one can read this because it's in Hebrew symbols and it's stuck in 19th century Yiddish. But the song, we cannot share the language, but the songs in this book are so good, but no one can hear them because they're locked into 19th century European Jewish siloed communities. And the same, done with the language barrier. Mm-hmm. Break the language barrier. Assault it. And shrink it on a watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That sounds beyond incredible. Tell us why you picked 7 colors. Why 7?
Great question. Memory. There are many research papers, psychology research papers, where they talk about before the smartphone, how you would remember 7 digits, 7 phone numbers. When I was younger, I used to remember like 1,000 phone numbers. And the phone numbers were always 7 numbers. And the license plate were always 7. And the days of the week were always 7. Everywhere in the world, was there a meeting? Did all the Japanese people 1,000 years ago meet with all the French people and say, why don't we have a nice meeting in a universal language and decide how many days of the week there should be? No, there was no meeting. It just fit. And in every country, in every continent, in every language, you have a calendar, and there's always 7 weekdays. Yeah, even if there are different ideas about the length of a day or a month in history, no one has ever disagreed about the importance of having like 7 weekdays and 7 colors and 7 by 7 grid to plot with colors. It just falls. It's magical. I do not know why, but there's something really cool, even like a game-like thing, when you just have color and shape to communicate. If you can break down language so it's just a bunch of colors and shapes, then it's the way music is, and music is a universal language. No one contests that the way a song should be written in musical notation. Very hard to read and understand. Symphonies and piano scores of music, but no one fights it. No one says it's a wrong way to represent the music. But language tied to music can also now be represented. And it doesn't matter that it's in Hebrew or French or Swahili or Chinese. And we're not just really talking about language, we're talking about writing systems. We have here a mini universal alphabet with a fixed format, and every song in every language will have its DNA, its fingerprint, the pattern, and I want to see it. And once you can hold the lyrics in your hand, it becomes materialized and physicalized and real. It's no longer foreign when you can see the colors in the pattern and you listen to the song and you watch the video. You are Vietnamese. You are Polish. You may hate the French people. You don't even know why you hate them, but you are singing that 19th century opera by Offenbach, and you're like, whoa, I love French music and every culture, and no more racism. You can hate people, but you can't hate the music. You cannot hate the music. Amen.